Welcome to AngularJS Forms using Bootstrap and MVC5. My name is Mark Zamoyda. Forms are an important part of any website, whether you have the simplest form to collect a viewer's email address or a complex form to complete a detailed procedure. In this course, we'll be looking at the AngularJS framework on the client side. We'll also be using Bootstrap classes to help lay out and style our forms. For server-side technology, we'll use ASP.NET MVC5 to collect form data and handle requests from Angular. Module 1 is this introduction, and in Module 2, we'll start off by setting up an AngularJS project. We'll make sure the fundamental Angular components are in place, including a module for our application, a controller, service, and a view. Then we'll work with Bootstrap to create a demo employee form. We'll style the form using Bootstrap CSS classes. We'll work with horizontal rows and add field sets. We'll use Angular to two-way data bind to our form, and we'll also bind data from our scope to a select element. The end result is a great-looking form that data binds with our Angular controller. In Module 3, we'll take a deeper look at using our forms within AngularJS. We'll set up routing to our form, and we'll exit our form gracefully, whether the user decides to save the form or cancel out. Canceling out of a form has the potential to corrupt data on our controller's scope. We'll make sure our form cleans itself up properly if the user modifies data but then decides to cancel all changes. We'll also cover modal forms, which take over the full screen and focus the user's full attention on filling out the form. For Module 4, we'll take a close look at the UI Bootstrap project. UI Bootstrap is an open source project by the Angular UI team, which gives us many useful controls for forms in AngularJS. We'll add a date picker control and a time picker control to the employee form. We'll also look at UI Bootstrap's other controls implemented as Angular directives. There's a type ahead directive for making suggestions to users as they type, a rating directive to rate website content, and collapse and accordion directives to show and hide web controls and markup. Other controls include popovers, tooltips, alerts, buttons, carousels, dropdowns, pagination, progress bars, and tabs. Module 5 is all about form validation in AngularJS. Validation on the client side is important since it helps users to properly fill out a form. We'll use Bootstrap to style fields with errors. We'll take a look at several flags the Angular framework automatically sets so that we know when fields and forms are valid or not. We'll look at Angular 1.3's new CSS styles and flags for better form validation, and we'll create our own custom directive for form validation. We'll also see how to handle validation when the submit button is pressed and handle form resets properly. The final module, Module 6, is all about handling form data on the server side. We'll be using Microsoft's ASP.NET MVC5 for server-side processing. We'll take a good look at bundling and minifying our CSS and JavaScript code, as well as min-safing our AngularJS scripts. We'll work with Angular's HTTP service to pass asynchronous requests to MVC, and we'll see how to deal with promises on the client side. We'll cover server-side validation, binding posted data to view models, and returning status codes and messages back to AngularJS. Most of this module uses a standard MVC5 controller, but we'll see how to get things working in Web API 2 as well. By the end of this course, you'll have learned to create great-looking forms that fit into the AngularJS framework. You'll be able to style your forms with Bootstrap or other CSS classes, and you'll be able to get access to all your form data and validate it within an MVC5 application.